Hi, thank you for listening. This is Sherry Andrea of sherryspeaks.com, where you can find 80 plus attunements starting at $2.50 and up. They are in attunement course form, which means I have imbued in each course, I have imbued the energy of the attunement in a graphic. So this works similar to chi ball method. Chi ball method. But in this case, you don't have to do anything on your part. You don't have to call that energy from that chi ball in or anything. All you're doing is you're staring and meditating on the image to receive the attunement. So even though it's in course form, I just put it in course form just to make it easier to deliver to you. It's still the same. Sometimes people ask me, is it any different than you like me requesting it and you doing the attunement, directly yourself? No, it is the same. It's like I have imbued the image, so it's like put that attunement on like automatic repeat. As you grow and you learn more about energy work, you'll be able to do the same things, and some of you are already doing them. Like some of you, that when I've talked to you, you have a box and you put names in this box and then you do the attunement to the box. Some of you have a proxy, which is a doll, and you use this doll as your proxy to stand for the person you're going to attune, and you do everything to this doll. And some of you are doing healing work that way, not just attunements. You're doing healing work that way. Some of you are have a notebook, and you keep adding names to the notebook, and then you either attune or you give that notebook, you send the healing energy to it. So I've heard from some of you, and you guys are using like all these different methods, and it's exciting to see you doing that. Keep up the good work. Keep using your imagination. Keep coming up with whatever you come up with. Don't even question, will this work? Yes, it will. It will work if you believe it works. There is no, this won't work, that won't work, this isn't possible, that isn't possible. That is called not thinking outside the box. You want to think outside the box. Everything and anything is possible. If you don't believe that, then you don't believe in what God can do or what the universe can do. So that means you must also be restricted in your thinking to what you think the universe can do. You must think, oh, the universe can't do it all. God can't do it all. So if you believe that, it's kind of like saying if 1 + 1 is 2, then 2 + 2 must be 4. It's like kind of saying, okay, well, if this is true, then that would also have to be true. So anyway, let's get right to it. First of all, let me put up this fair use disclaimer. And the reason why I'm putting this up is because I'm getting ready to share a technique with you that I use when it comes to manifestation. Also, sometimes I use it when it comes to energy work, healing. I might use it when I'm working on myself, clearing myself. But it has been awesome when it comes to manifestation. Now, you may be manifesting something materialistic. You may be manifesting healing for yourself. But anyway, let me read this disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyrights Act 1976. Allowances made for fair use for the purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit educational or personal use tips the balance in the favor of fair use. Okay, so we've read it. Because, and by the way, what I am going to be reading bits and pieces from this book, it's the book Saint Germain on Alchemy, and this is by Elizabeth Clare Prophet. One of my favorites. One of my favorite books. So, if you're into manifestation, law of attraction, at some point, get this book. Even if you get it and you kind of skip around the book read this chapter, read that chapter. It actually, in the beginning of it, has a really nice history of Saint Germain. I really like that too. It also has a section on anxiety, depression, etc., etc. I thought that that was great that it had that section, because many of us, either now or at some point, suffered from these things and occasionally dip down into them. No matter how advanced you are, you still live in this world and you still have an ego. You're in the body. So we still, no matter our level, will dip down into these things. Y'all ain't heard nothing. I mean, some people think it's funny. I have friends that think it's hilarious, but it's like, they're like, oh, Sherry, we could be having a conversation. You can be so calm, so zen, and then your son does something, and just like that, I like snap into mother mode, and I start going off, and then I'll turn back to them and I'll be like, okay, now what we were talking about is, and they're like, I used to have my neighbor's daughter used to say to me, I don't get it. She used to say, how do you do that? It's like we're talking all calm and everything about some subject or something, and then all of a sudden your son does something, and all of a sudden you like turn into this other person. You totally snap and go off, and then just like that, you come back. Like there is no break. There is no like, let me gather myself. Oh my gosh, I'm so upset. No, just like that, I'm back. And I've had so many friends be like, I don't understand how you do that sometimes. And I'm just like, because it's a moment. You just have to realize everything that happens, it's just a moment in time. And it doesn't have to dictate your future. It was a moment. That moment, once that moment was over, that moment didn't have to continue to dictate how you feel, what you're feeling now. That was then. It literally happened maybe a second ago, but that was then. So what is it now? So you have to be able to do that, because yes, no matter your advancement, you are going to find yourself dipping down occasionally, or needing to dip down, because you can't just lay down and be like, especially if you're a parent, you can't just lay down and say, oh, I'm supposed to be spiritual and all zen and everything, so you can't be letting your kid like run all over you, and oh, he's throwing knives in the house and stuff. You can't. You have to play your role. If you are a parent, you have to play the role as a parent. You don't feel like spirituality gets in the way of that. No, that's a role that you were given to play. You've got to play that role to the best of your ability. And sometimes it does require you, like a role you're playing does require you to be hard or harsh or put your foot down. It does. And you just have to remember that. Don't feel guilty about it. Think of people who are not the telemarketers, but the people who are the collectors that call you to say, hey, I'm calling because you owe this, or like are relentless, like the student loan people. Those people are relentless, and they're doing a job. Do you think that they are, if I believed in the concept of heaven versus hell, do I really think that they're going to hell because they're a bill collector? No, they're playing a role. They have to make a living. And if that's the job they've chosen to make a living, I guess I would say there's some compensation, or there's some leeway that you're being given, to because you have this job. If you're a correction officer and you have to do your job in a certain way, because you have to keep control of the inmates, do you not think that you're excused because you this is your job, this is the responsibility you accepted, and you're expected to do it, else you get fired. So do you really think that that's going to be held against you? Do you really think the universe is that unfair? Like, oh yeah, you had to work, but now we're going to hold that against you. No. Okay, so I didn't mean to get off track. But anyway, okay, so this technique, I use it a lot for manifestation. However, like I said, you can use it for like literally anything. When it comes to healing of yourself or another person, you can even, I mean, literally it's endless what you can use it for. But let me first tell you about it. I am going to put in the description the name of the book that it's coming from, which is called Saint Germain on Alchemy. I'm going to put the information for the book in the description. Okay, so for those of you who do get the book and want to get right to it or want to read about this, it's in chapter 6, and the title is called Create and the Cloud. One thing that I want to read to you that I found very interesting, sorry, hold on, because I can't read with my glasses on. I'm sure you have noticed that many safeguards which I have inserted into this course to make certain that you are never of the wrong opinion, for none should ever assume that by a mere scientific or mechanical ritual he will be able to perform the highest types of alchemical manifestation. That's just letting you know, just because you learn a technique or you learn some ritualistic something, that doesn't mean that that's all it takes. And so it goes on and says, not so. For the highest alchemy, the greatest change is that which changes man into a god, wherein the Son becomes one with the Father, and this can never be accomplished by mechanical means. Okay, so basically what that's telling you, this is like sometimes you read a book and you read something and you're like, that's a key. I got to pay attention to that. That's a key to everything else. Everything else I'm trying to learn. Every other skill I am trying to acquire and perfect. I was just told an important key. Because, I'll say it again, for the highest alchemy, the greatest change is that which changes man into a god, wherein the Son becomes one with the Father. That's an important key. The key to your power and to being able to do things such as, whether it's energy work, healing, manifestation, law of attraction, the key to the power that you're looking for and that ability you're looking to attain, the skill at which you can do it, the level at which you can do it, the key is in your own belief of who you are. If you are still of the belief that you are nothing more than a lowly man that cannot attain what has been stated, which is you're made in his image. Okay, so if you're supposed to be made in God's image, I always use the example of a pie. Some of you that have watched all my videos have heard me use this example. If you have a whole pie and I cut a slice of it and I give it to you, what do I call it? It's still pie, isn't it? It's not now an orange. It's not turkey. I don't cut that slice and go, here you go, here's turkey. No, that pie that I cut you a slice of, it is still pie. It's just a piece of it. So, if you understand the concept of oneness and that all things are made from that one, then you understand taking a piece of that one, take a little tiny bit of the energy of that one. It didn't change what it was. If you're a piece of God, you're still God. Now you're here on earth in the body and you have ego. And so now you're playing by slightly different rules, of course, than you would play by when you're on the other side and you're out, you don't have a body. Okay, so you're playing by different rules. Now you have extra rules on you because you got this ego, right? However, who you are didn't change. Because, I mean, you're still a soul. You're still that same energy that was on the other side. Isn't that still you? But you are still the same as you were. You're a part of the whole. That means you're still pie. You didn't change. You're not turkey now. Just because you're here on earth, you're not turkey. You're still a pie, right? So, if you are a piece of the energy of God, that means you are still God. Just a piece. But that energy is so powerful that even a piece of it, imagine what it can do. So with right thinking, right belief, you literally have to buy into it. And this is similar to people who practice like telekinesis or trying to move something with their mind. They really have to practice daily getting into the belief that they can do that. If they cannot believe they can do it, they're going to have a hard time accomplishing that, right? They have to buy into it 100%. If you don't buy into who you truly are, you will find it hard to manifest like a God, because you want to manifest like God, but you don't believe you're God. You don't believe that's possible. Well, guess what? That's going to hold you back from doing the most powerful manifestations. And that includes whether you're trying to manifest something materialistic, something financial, or whether you're trying to manifest healing for someone, or whether you're trying to manifest healing for your own self, even if that healing is in the form of something emotional, mental, or physical. Maybe you're trying to get over, you're trying to heal yourself and get over thinking a certain way, reacting a certain way. Maybe you're trying to get over like holding on to things from the past. Maybe that's what you're trying to heal yourself of, but you're going to find that hard to do if you don't believe you have that kind of power. Okay, so now I'm going to share with you now how I use this technique. That's what we're going to do now. It's quite simple. The cloud is just that. You know what a cloud is. However, this is a different type of cloud. This is a magnetic cloud. So this isn't a cloud that's like your normal cloud. This is a magnetic cloud. Also, the existence of this cloud is not just in this dimension. The existence of this cloud, and when you create it, is multi-dimensional. Because if you have learned enough about manifestations, where your blueprint manifests is actually not in this dimension. It's not created and manifesting and solidifying in this dimension. It is solidifying in a higher dimension and then is lowered down into this dimension when it is complete and ready to manifest. So the cloud, think of it as this is something that you're not only creating and forming that exists in this dimension, but it's also existing in another dimension where creations are made. The simplest way I can put it. Okay, so the first thing that I usually do is I always start off with surrounding myself with the violet flame is one of the first things I always do. I may say the violet flame decree a few times. I may or may not ground myself. Sometimes I find it easier to use methods like this if I don't ground myself. So whether or not you ground yourself, go with what you feel is best for you. But a lot of times I don't ground myself before I do this. I just surround myself with a violet flame. Okay, now the cloud is based on the white light. So if you would prefer, instead of surrounding yourself with a violet flame, if you would prefer to visualize yourself surrounded in white light, you can do that. And I will kind of read the example of why. I gotta take my glasses off again. Where is it? Hold on. Okay, it says, in our earlier meditations, we shall concentrate on intensifying the actions of the white light in our mind. From thence, we shall transfer that action to the 9-foot area around the physical form, our body. Once we have developed the sense of this cloud being around our physical form, we shall understand that whereas the cloud can be made visible to the physical sight, our primary concern is to keep its high vibratory action purely spiritual. You could see that last part of keeping it purely spiritual. You could kind of think of that as this isn't something that you would use to get back at somebody or to do harm to somebody. You're trying to keep it spiritual. You're trying to keep it on that level of being for a good reason, without bad intentions. It may be, intentions that are self-serving, true, but you're not trying to do it with bad intentions for yourself or anyone else or for the world. So you're not going to use this to do something detrimental, something bad, something evil. So that's how I kind of interpret that last part that said to keep it spiritual. Okay, so I basically almost told you what you needed to know. Okay, so that's why I was saying if you would rather start with seeing white light around your body, you can. Okay, so the next thing is to, in your mind's eye, visualize that it's forming a cloud around you. So even if you visualize the violet flame around you, that next step is to start visualizing and seeing that there is a cloud surrounding you, or a cloud forming of about 9 feet in diameter around you. So you're basically, it's kind of like a big bubble you're in. And now don't get ahead of yourself. Don't jump ahead and go, 9 feet. I'll visualize that it's much bigger than that. No, because we're coming to that. Don't get ahead of yourself, because there's a reason why you don't want to do that. Okay, so you're going to start visualizing that there's a cloud around you. Now, for those of you that feel like you don't visualize that well, don't worry about it. The more you practice this, because you do have to do it every day. Again, this is one of those things. Don't expect to get good at it unless you you practice it every day. Also, the intensifying of it and what it can do, it requires you to do it every day. Here's an example. You know how you can take a vitamin and the label says it does this and this and this? It's just like ginkgo biloba. It's great for memory, for giving you better memory. But here's the thing. Don't expect when you take it that first time that bam, you're going to have this awesome memory. No, it doesn't work like that. You need to be taking it for a few days in a row before it starts to kick in, before you start to notice the difference. Same thing with the cloud. You need to be using it for a few days in a row, every day, practicing it. It doesn't have to be the same time of day. Every day, practicing it. It doesn't have to be for a long period of time. It can just be for a few minutes. But you need to do it every day, because the strength of it and the ability and what it can do is going to intensify. It's going to eventually kick in and intensify until you are going to notice a difference. You are going to be sitting at some streetlight one day and just looking at it, visualizing it turning green and and you go, turn green already. Bam, it does. Yeah, I almost caused a couple accidents that way. So be careful, because literally the cloud is very powerful. Okay, so now that you visualize the cloud around you, remember what I said? This is a magnetic cloud. So when I first started practicing this, I was just like, how am I going to visualize that this is magnetic versus it's just being some regular cloud? How am I going to do that? I try different things. And one of the things I use is to see something that looks similar to lightning. Think if something is magnetic, something magnetic is like a magnet. It's attracting things. And what I would do is I would kind of visualize that it had like kind of like lightning type of lines through it, and that I was using my intention, my thought of what it was, and that it was magnetic in form. So be creative. What would this look like if it was magnetic and it was drawing things to it? What would it look like? Just go with whatever like works for you, or whatever will make you think, oh yeah, that's what I would think of if a cloud was magnetic. So now you're there. You've got the cloud around you. You're visualizing and also intending and thinking that it's magnetic. So I know now you're wondering what you do with it. It's like a tool. What do you do with it? Imagine that the cloud is a screen. It's a screen. What would you like to play on this screen that you want to manifest? You could play anything on it. Yeah, it's true. You could visualize on the screen that you see, you're like almost like watching a movie, and you and your ex are getting together and you're reconnecting. You could. However, you have to keep in mind your ex also has free will, so if that is not something he wants, it may not work. Everything kind of has to conspire together when it comes to manifestation or any type of energy work. You're looking to get everything to conspire together, all the pieces to conspire together. But when you have one piece that is not, this may be the free will of another person. This is where you run into trouble, because this cloud is not going to change another person's free will. There are certain things it can do, but it can't take away somebody else's free will. And you should be glad of that, so that you know your free will can't be taken away from you either. But maybe you would, on the screen, show yourself at the bank cashing a nice size check and being given and seeing the teller counting out that money and handing it to you, or seeing yourself excited as you're scratching off a scratch off ticket. You could see yourself, like if you have been having health problems, see yourself doing something that right now maybe you're not able to easily do. See yourself jogging. See yourself, I don't know, playing soccer with kids. See yourself healthy, full of life, full of energy. Or if it's another person, see them on the screen doing those things. Or maybe it's that you want something. Maybe you're going to use the screen to see yourself driving a certain type of car. But you're basically going to visualize on this screen what you want to manifest. And then you're going to just do that for a while. And when I say for a while, I'm talking it might be 2 minutes, it might be 5 minutes, but you're going to see that, and you're going to practice this. You're going to do this every day. The cloud is very powerful, but this doesn't mean you don't have to do your other spiritual work. You still got to meditate, practice raising your vibrations, say those mantras, decrees, etc., etc. I'm sorry. I ate cheese this morning. Congesting. So anyway, I'm going to this is what the book looks like, in case any of you, like me, sometimes are still into getting books, the hard copy, and not like getting it, Kindle or online. I'll hold it up so you can see what it looks like. This is what it looks like, in case you're in the bookstore looking for it. This is what it looks like. Because that's what you'll see if it's on the shelf. I mean, you can't, like, the word alchemy stands out. So, like I said, that's chapter 6. But don't just read chapter 6. The whole book is awesome when it comes to teaching you about manifestation. It does have the alchemical formula, the steps to manifestation, and towards the back of the book it has that. But it was a great book. It really helped me to really learn how to get good at manifestation. So just start off, even if you don't have the book yet, just start off by practicing creating start off by practicing creating the cloud around you. Start by creating the cloud around you every day, so that by the time you do get the book, you've gotten good at that part, creating the cloud and visualizing things on it. Remember, it's magnetic, so keep thinking in your mind as you're doing it, this is a magnetic cloud. And visualize it however you need to like signify that. So that's one of the tidbits I wanted to share today that I haven't as of yet shared. I've talked about it here and there. I mentioned it, but I've never like actually shared the technique. So I hope you find that useful. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. Namaste.